Hey guys, welcome back to another video. So today I got a video planned. I've been wanting to do it for a while. This video is mainly for people that are wanting to get into deer hunting. Like this year would be their first year. If you're one of those people that are like, man, I really want to get into deer hunting, but I don't know, I'm kind of nervous about it. These are going to be some great topics for you. Or even if you're just a beginner, like kind of last year and you're wanting to hunt this year, here's just some it's a long list of just stuff that you need and you need to follow by, just everything, but we'll just jump into it so that way you guys get a better hint. I have a whole bunch of notes so that way I'm well prepared for this video because there's a lot of stuff that I'm just going to fly through. The first thing, if you're a beginner or just starting out wanting to deer hunt, laws and regulations. Right now I have this pulled up. It's the IDNR website because I live here in Illinois. I don't know what state you guys live in, blah, blah, but you're going to look up the Department of Natural Resources and it's going to pop up. Right here, you're going to go to Hunt and Trap, and then you can go to Deer. If you're wanting a deer hunt, coyote hunt, coon hunt, whatever, you're going to have to go to here. It's going to tell you all about deer hunting. All the rules and regulations are on here. It's going to tell you the dates that your thing opens, everything like that. So you can get that all right here. You need to know the laws of what you're going to hunt. That brings me to my second topic. Deer tags. You have to buy a deer tag and you have to buy a hunting permit. They really don't cost that much. It adds up if you're going to want to kill a buck, a doe, maybe two does, whatever you want to kill, but it adds up, but it ain't that expensive. So, know your laws, get your deer permits, you're legal there. You know everything, blah, blah. You got all your permits. Number 3 is land to hunt on. Say you're new, you don't have permission on private ground, you don't own any ground. So you don't have any of that. What you're going to do is either call for permission or find a buddy that owns some ground, get permission on private, something like that. But the most reasonable route for a beginner is to go hunt public land. You can find that on the Department of Natural Resources website as well. You can find public land. I ain't going to try to deal with that because it might take you a minute, but public land. It's a very good option if you're just starting out. Equipment. Equipment is what is going to cost the most, but it's going to be well worth it. So you're talking either you're going to have, if you want a gun hunt, you're going to have to buy a gun. You're going to have to buy, if you want a bow hunt, a bow. You can use crossbow. So you're going to need one of those to hunt with. So you're looking at anywhere between $300 to $1,000 for one of those if you're wanting a good one. So think of that, but you're also going to take in the cost of, like, say you get a bow, you're going to have to buy arrows, a release, a sight, quiver, drop away rest, broadheads. So you need all that. So you take that all into factor. Here's just some equipment that you're possibly going to want. You're going to want trail cameras. You're going to want boots. You're going to want camo. You're going to want a deer stand, a ground blind. So take that all into factor. You're going to spend quite a bit of money getting started. But those are all things that are going to last you several years. So take in the cost, know what you're going to spend, set a limit for yourself. There's videos on YouTube of people killing deer with $300 Walmart bows. So you don't have to go the expensive route. You don't have to buy Matthews like I did. Or you don't have to go Hoyt. You can just buy some cheap brand that'll kill a deer. There's ways to get around it. My whole hunting suit, my jacket and my pants cost $100. So there's cheap ways about it. How to find deer for a beginner. It's overwhelming. You spent all this money and you're just wanting to get out in the woods. You're wanting to kill deer. The number one thing I would say, in my opinion, for a beginner, hunt over fields. Key into those fields. But on top of that, you're going to want to do a lot of scouting. So my 6th tip is how to find deer. As a beginner, you're going to be overwhelmed. You just spend all this money. You're excited to get out in the woods. But take the time, scout in the summer. Know where those deer are at, where their food sources they're hitting. See how many bucks that you're going to have on, if you're hunting on public. See how many bucks you have. Do some scouting. Set up trail cameras. Do all that. Get to know your area. That's what I recommend. Now, when it comes to hunting season, and you say that you went out there, I always go out there 2-3 weeks before deer season. I hang my stands, get my ground blind out, whatever, blah, blah. Do that. But for a beginner, I recommend hunting over fields. Pick cornfields, my favorite. They tend to draw a lot of deer in there. They're just a great place to hunt. But definitely hunt over fields. As, say that you hunt this year, and next year you're like, okay, I know that the deer are going to hit the fields, blah, blah. Maybe move yourself and just try to work on yourself each year and hit the deer trails. And then work your way back to buck bedding areas. You're going to have a lot more stuff back in there. But you want to be somewhat experienced to hunt those buck bedding areas. Number 7. Where should you set up? Depending on the layout of the land, if there's any cornfields or bean fields, set up over those. You're going to have a higher rate of seeing more deer, which is going to keep you more interested in hunting. And also, it's just going to, you might get something. So, that's that was a number 6 and number 7 was basically the same thing. Number 8, what you're going to do, as soon as you get your bow, you're going to want to practice and practice and practice and practice and practice and practice. That's the number one thing I can stress is this practice. Watch some bow shots on YouTube. Look up bow kill shots. Most people aim right above the front shoulder on a deer or right to the side of it to get that heart shot. But make sure that if you're a beginner that you practice aiming above the heart a little bit so that way when the deer duck that arrow that you kill it. I mean, the deer's not going to jump your string, so just practice. If you're a gun hunter and you're going to hunt this year, I say 2 weeks before deer season, go put a box or 2 through your gun. Make sure it's sighted in perfect. You want to have you want to know that you're comfortable shooting with whatever you have, and that you're effective and you can kill a deer with that. So that's another one. Number 9, when to hunt. Early mornings and late in the evenings. It's pretty obvious. Or maybe not, but in the mornings I like to get there 45 minutes before breaking daylight. In the evening I like to get in there 2 to 3 hours before dark, depending on what time of the year and stuff. Now if it's rut, I'm getting in there 45 minutes before breaking daylight, and I'm staying until 30 minutes after dark, making sure I don't spook nothing on the way in or way out. I like to take my time, get in there slowly, and I like to hunt all day during the rut. Bucks are moving during the rut. They don't stop. They're beasts. So you got to be in there. The best time to hunt, though, is rut. But if you're just hunting, say, October 6th, you want to get in there 45 minutes before breaking daylight, and then I usually slip out about 11:30, and I get back in the stand 2 to 3 hours before dark. Number 10, how to track deer. Depending on your state, you could use bait. Here in Illinois, we're not allowed to use bait at all. The only thing that we're allowed to use maybe some deer pee or some scents like that. You're allowed to use that. Me personally, I love the Tink smoking sticks. They work great. That, and I've used like some Evercalm and stuff like that. You rub it on your boots when you walk in and all that. It's okay. Scents is all based on your personal preference. Another way to track deer while you're hunting is decoys. When the corn gets picked, I really like to put out a decoy in corn. Nothing draws them out more than that. You could get a buck real fired up to come rut with a buck decoy out there. You could even put a bedded doe in a buck decoy. That's kind of extra money. It just depends on if you're into that. Like me, I've been hunting since I was a little kid, so I know that to me that's worth it. Deer calls. Deer calls are another great way. Not going to really go over that. You have a doe bleat and a buck grunt. That's all you basically need. Weather. Watch the weather if you're a beginner. Weather is going to be key. Play the wind. You always want the wind in your face, so that way they ain't blowing towards the deer. It's pretty obvious. Just set up to where the wind's in your face and it's not going to spook the deer. But also weather tells you a lot of things. If it's warm one day and you look on the weather app, say it's like 60 degrees one day, and you look on the weather app and it's going to be 45 that morning, that's the best time to hunt. That cold front just happened. You need to get out there. I don't care what's happening. Get out there. You're going to kill a deer that day, probably, more than likely. So I suggest that. Number 12 kind of goes over what we talked about a little bit earlier, but know where to aim on a deer. That's a big stressor of mine. I kind of have target panic sometimes, especially when I'm sitting there and like I'm just chilled back and I'm looking on Facebook on my phone and big buck walks in. I'm freaking out inside. So just know that it's going to be a lot more adrenaline when you see an actual deer. So really key into focusing on where that arrow is hitting when you're practicing. Practice, practice, practice. Number 13. Lastly, if you're going to go hunting, just know that you're going to make mistakes. You're going to spook deer. You're going to do all these. You're going to maybe miss. You're going to do all these things. It's okay. It's not the end of the world. You're going to feel like it is. Your stomach's going to be tied in knots because you missed a big deer. But we've all been there. We've all done it. No matter who you are. I don't care if you're the best deer hunter in the world. We've all done it. It's just part of it. If you don't do that, then you would never learn. You're never going to exceed at what you're doing. Me, I've killed a nice, ginormous deer, but I've also missed a 4-pointer. So it's just whatever. Lastly, if you're going to get into deer hunting, you've probably been doing some research or whatever, blah, blah, and you're on these Facebook groups or whatever, and all these guys are going to hound you and saying, oh, don't shoot that year-old deer, blah, blah. Don't listen to them. Shoot whatever makes you happy. That's my number one thing is Haley's to testify. That big buck came out there, and she talked me into shooting that big buck. And to be honest with you, I really wasn't excited about shooting that big buck. An 8-pointer came in 5 yards from me, and I wanted to shoot that 8-pointer more than that big buck because that 8-pointer made me get excited. It got really close and personal, so I really enjoyed that. But just shoot what makes you happy. If it makes you happy shooting a doe, shoot a doe. It don't matter. And I also want to mention, it's kind of all of them, but I also want to mention is if you have a question about deer hunting or whatever and say that this is your first year, try to get a hold of me. Leave a comment or whatever, and I'll try to respond. And also, if you're out deer hunting this year and you're new to it and you have a question or something like that, Google is your best friend. Google it. So all I can say is you study on it. Study, and you'll get there, I promise. If you are new and you're going out this year, I'm excited for you. Start practicing. Let those arrows fly straight. Do all the stuff you need to do. You'll know. Just trust your gut and all that. That's the whole reason I started this YouTube channel, was to get more people outdoors. That's my passion. I love outdoors. I'm a big time deer hunter. There's nothing else in this world that I love more than deer hunting. It's my hobby for life. So it definitely will be yours too, especially if you kill a deer. You get that adrenaline flowing through you. It'll be your favorite thing. Lastly, if you're not subscribed, subscribe. I posted a short on there, and I had some guy say, probably because you haven't given us a reason to. Well, if you're watching my content every day, because I can tell you guys do, then subscribe. So, yeah. That's all I got for you today. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Leave a comment, whatever. And I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.